back to our kitchen. Today we are gonna make short rib ragu. I have a very special guest coming tomorrow evening that I need to impress. And so we're gonna make all that happen today so that we can have a very special evening tomorrow night. And let's get into it, yeah. All right, so first thing first, we have here short rib. And actually, this is not all short rib. This here is chuck steak because the store that I went to only had this much short rib, which it is what it is. This is plenty. I'm only cooking for 2 people, but this is 2 pounds of meat. So the idea, because this is gonna be a longer process, is to have enough left over, especially if it's something that you know that you or your friends enjoy. Definitely make more than you need. So first is to dice this, and want a pretty large dice. So my pieces are probably 2 inches, yeah, maybe 1.5 inch, 2 inch chunks. And I'm gonna take this little bit of sinew off right there. So that's not gonna go in. You want large chunks because you wanna have a lot of surface to sear. If they're too small, they're gonna release a lot of liquid and it's not gonna be as easy to get the browning on there. So you've got that. Short rib's a little easier. It's already cut into small pieces. Boom, like this. All right. And there's that. So everything there, diced, nice, like I said, nice big chunks. And we'll take that to the back and we're gonna sear that in just a minute. Wash your hands, that's just gross. So next, really quick, before we start searing that, I wanna make sure that I have everything prepped out. So these are my ingredients and I'm just gonna very quickly chop these up. I've got 2 medium small white onions. I got 5 carrots and I've got some rosemary, thyme, powdered sage, bay leaf, garlic. So I'm just gonna process all that so that it's ready to go right into the pan. And yeah, this is my garlic. We are just doing a rough chop. Doesn't have to be super small, but just like a nice chop. And then I'm gonna put everything into the bowl together, the onions, the carrots, and the garlic, because there's not gonna be as much like worry about them browning. Same with the onions, so nice, say medium dice. And carrots, small to medium dice on these. Cool. All right, carrots are done. So that's it. That's our garlic, our onion, and our carrots all in the bowl right here. And we're gonna take that to the back. We're gonna start getting everything seared up. Yeah. All right, so we are going to very quickly season salt and pepper on our short ribs here, or our short rib and chuck. And that, black pepper as well. We're gonna go in the pan with just a little bit of olive oil to start it out. And you want your pan to be pretty hot. I've had this pan warming up. You can already see it smoking. So from here, we're just gonna put all these in. So salt, pepper side down, in the pan. Nice and brown. And because this is my great-grandmother's pot, it does not sit super flat, but it's more heartwarming. Searing on that one side, and you can see what it looks like there. Searing on that one side, I'm going to season the other side as well. Salt, pepper. All right, and then the fat in there is gonna render out. So you don't need a ton of olive oil because it will just start to render its own fat, and we're gonna let it brown. So once you get to lovely brown pieces like that, that's what you want the side to look like. You're gonna start to flip them one by one. We're just gonna flip them, and we're gonna try to hit all 4 sides. And like you kind of, I mean, obviously shy of brown, like burning it, you can't really go too brown. You want these to be, because they're gonna braise for probably 2 hours plus. So all that browning is just gonna turn into that extra flavor that we want. Also the flavor that you need. It's not just the flavor you want, it's the flavor, otherwise you end up with some gross ass pale sauce. Nobody wants roast tail sauce. Okay. All right, so once we've got all our sides pretty well browned there, I'm just gonna put them into a bowl, set them aside, and then you see all of that like brown bit in the bottom there. That is also gonna be critical, and we're gonna get all of that off in just a minute, deglazing with red wine. So next up is our vegetables. So to the same pan, I'm gonna add maybe 3 tablespoons or so of whole butter, and then I'm gonna add my vegetables. Again, carrot, garlic, onion, everything going into that. And temperature's still pretty high. I haven't changed the temperature at all. Then I'm gonna do just a little salt here to help to break down. Pulls out some of the moisture a little faster. So this is where we're going to be. Onions are a little brown, nice and soft. Carrots, same deal. So to this mix, I've got 2 bay leaves that I'm going to add, and then I've got maybe half a teaspoon of powdered sage. Powdered sage is going to add a really nice undertone, kind of unlike anything else, honestly. Powdered sage. Thank you, Joe Don. I'm going to put the thyme sprigs in there. I'm going to put the rosemary sprigs in there. Boom. Give that a stir. It's going to add the beef in there. We have a fine 2021 Merlot from Columbia Valley. You can use whatever dry red wine that you want to use. This one just happens to be left over from a dinner a couple weeks ago and kept in the fridge. It's totally fine to use. So we're using this to deglaze the bottom of the pan. We just want to cook the alcohol out of that. All right, so at this point I am smelling it, and I don't smell any more alcohol in that. So at this point I'm going to add, this is 28 ounces of tomato. Some people want tomato, recipes you see called tomato paste. I think tomato paste is kind of bullshit. It has some uses, but very, very few as far as I'm concerned, when you can just use a really good canned sauce and reduce it a little bit more. Best brand you're ever gonna find, the Muti brand. It's Italian. It's not organic, but the Europeans have way higher standards for their agriculture than we do, so this might as well be an organic product. Relatively inexpensive, and it tastes like you've literally just taken super fresh tomato, crushed it, threw it into a can. You can't beat this product if you're trying to make an excellent pasta sauce of any kind. So there's that. We're mixing that in, and then I have a quart, 4 cups roughly. This is probably closer to 3.5 cups, and this is chicken broth. Some people, you could use beef broth, you could use whatever you want. I'm using chicken broth because I have very excellent chicken broth at home, and I'd rather use that than use a store-bought anything. So use what you have as long as it's high quality. There's no way that you're gonna taste the chicken through that. The recipe will say beef broth. Right now I'm using chicken. It's gonna take a while. This is probably gonna take, I would say, a good 2 hours roughly. And we're gonna bring it up to a simmer and then just drop the temperature. So it just sits there and does its thing, watching the bottom every once in a while. We're gonna stir it so it doesn't burn, watching to make sure that it doesn't over reduce. If we need to add a little bit of water, we will. But in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and make the pasta, because that is its own process, and we can get that started in the meantime. All right. So we are now gonna go ahead and make in the meantime, while that's cooking, we're gonna go ahead and make the pasta. This is 100% egg yolk pasta. I want it to be really rich. So some you'll see have egg whites, some have some blend of different ones. I have, since I was 15, stuck with the recipe that I'm about to show you. Yeah, it's perfect. It's a blend of 2 flours. So you've got all-purpose flour here, and you have semolina flour as well. This is just gonna add a little toothiness to it, not too much. It's a pretty standard ratio, so we'll get all this weighed out and get that started. 100 grams of all-purpose flour, and I'm gonna do this right on the countertop. You can 100% do this in a bowl. This is not actually that much because I'm only cooking for 2 people. Okay, that's 100 grams of that. I'm gonna do 28 grams of, 28 grams of semolina right there. That is us right there. All right, I'm gonna say take these, just do a little, you might have seen Johnny Depp do something similar to this in some feature film. All right, you're gonna take this, make a little well right in the middle, just like that. Start cracking our eggs and throw them right in the center. Got 5 eggs, and like I said, egg yolks only. So I'm gonna go ahead and crack these right into a bowl, and then I'm gonna pull them out of this bowl. And simple, just reach down in there. You wanna come underneath the yolk like that, and then just pass it between your hands to let the whites fall out. And then boom, right in the center of your well. All right. And then the egg whites are gonna save because we're hitting the gym these days. So we're gonna add maybe just like a half of a teaspoon of olive oil. Nothing in terms of olive oil. And then this is 25 milliliters of water. I'm gonna do the 35. And then if we need to add flour, we'll do that. And then this is something that you could do in a mixing bowl, something you could, if you have a KitchenAid or whatever it is. Again, I'm just gonna do it like this because I don't have any of that stuff and I don't really think that I need it at this point. So you're gonna break your egg yolks and just with the 2 fingers, start to mix it just like that. And you see that I'm coming around the edges with my other hand to nudge in the flour. And that's all just gonna start to come together little by little. So the process is a relatively slow one like this, but it's how they've been doing it for years, or they've been doing it since before KitchenAids, before food processors, before any of that. So trust the process, even if it's not, call it modern. All right. Some pasta granny out there is gonna watch this and laugh at me, but this, and it's all gonna start to like really come together toward the end. Gonna just start to almost fold it. And don't worry about it getting on your fingers because it will come off of your fingers once you start to form the full thing. All right, so it come together and this is honestly looking really good. And like I said, it's gonna clean up the counter. It's gonna absorb all of the extra flack as it comes together. Boom, boom, boom. Looking good, looking good. All right, so now using the heel of your palm, is that what they call it? The heel of your palm? Yeah, why not? You're just going to almost push and slide, fold, push and slide like this. And this is a nice dough. This is gonna be perfect. So this is probably a 10-minute process that you're doing this. If you have another person with you, you can get them to help you, all the better. Still, like I said, all of that spare everything is gonna get picked up. And everything in my hand is likewise is getting pulled into the dough, so. At this point, the dough's getting pretty tough. So I'm folding in just a little bit like this, hitting with the palm, folding in, hit with the palm, fold in, palm. So it's almost like you're folding in a corner, just kneading it like that. And we're gonna get to a point where it's pretty shiny. Now, next part of this is it's gonna go in the fridge. So you can plastic wrap it, do as you wish. I'm gonna throw mine in a little plastic baggie because I don't have plastic wrap for some reason. Drop mine in there, gonna go in the fridge, at least 45 minutes, up to a day. Had it on the low simmer for, what do you think that was, Greg? 3 hours, 3.5 hours? And it's super well shredded. Think like good barbecue in terms of texture. Yeah, so from this point, we just turn off the heat and we're gonna go roll the pasta. All right, so our dough is super nice and tender and rested. I took and I cut that amount of dough, roughly 8 ounces of dough, and I've cut it into 3 pieces because we're gonna pass it through the pasta roller right now. So this is just a bit of all-purpose flour, and we're gonna do a light dust of that flour right here where the pasta is gonna come out. This has multiple settings on it, 1 through, I think it's 9, 1 being the thickest, 8 being thinner. When you're rolling through initially on level 1, you want to do it a couple of different times through there because it's almost like you're kneading the dough, and it also is going to give you just like a nice even square piece. So as you can see, that one tiny thin piece has now become something a little more consistent. So running it through there and onto here, and then onto number 2. And as it comes out on the bottom, you need to grab it, pull it out like that, and then onto 3. Just a little bit of flour onto here. All right, so we're on to 5 right now. The number 8, and here it goes. And it seems thin. It's not. It's correct. So it's once the dough like actually gets in the water and expands, it's gonna be perfect. This is what we want. I'm gonna take this and go once right in half like that, and then over here I've got semolina flour that I use in this part because it's a little coarser, so it's gonna keep the dough from sticking to itself. And boom, right like that. And then we're just gonna do these next 2 the exact same way. Back to number 1. All right, so everybody's seen those sexy like pictures of pasta in like a little nest, and that's what we're gonna make right now. So the thickness on this is really up to you, what you want. Some people like it thicker, some people like it thinner, longer, shorter, it's entirely up to you. But once you've got the semolina on there and you cut it, you're just gonna let it sit like that. So the thickness, I'm doing probably 1 inch. So, boom. And I unravel these because they tend to stick together. Great. All right, so once you got your pasta, this nice little piles like that, and it's all gonna end up in the same one. But also, once it's like this, don't manipulate it too much, because if you do, the square edges are gonna start to round, and it just ends up looking a little less professional. So for that, I'm gonna just do this extra sprinkle right on top, and then this is gonna go back to the water. All right, so we're here at the dashboard, essentially, of everything. So this is the ragu that we made. I made it 2 days ago, and it's perfect. You want to give it at least 24 hours after you make it to sit, and it absorbs all the sauce into the meat. Ends up becoming just like a more complete sauce. I've got 2 cups, 2 like full cups, just like one of those glass measuring cups of sauce in here for the 8 ounces of pasta. So 2 cups, 8 ounces of pasta, which is everything that we made and everything that we rolled out. So this is just going to heat up. And then while there's that, I've also got chopped parsley and chopped basil here, and then whole butter here, and grated Parmesan. So you can shave the Parmesan, you can do whatever you want. I like to grate it. It's more consistent. You can kind of throw it off of your fingers a little more easily. Okay, so once the sauce starts to warm up and you've got like the little simmer going on there, I'm gonna add in almost all of this, so just enough left in there for a garnish on top. That's the parsley, that's the basil, and just give that a stir through. I'm gonna go ahead and add our pasta to the water, all in one go here. Just like that. Move it around a little bit just so that it separates out. All right, so we want a little bit of the pasta water, and that's maybe just like a tablespoon to this, just to keep this from reducing too much while we're waiting for the pasta, but then also it adds to the sauce because the starch from this helps to thicken the sauce even more. Not that it really needs it, but it is just a part of the process. All right, so this is coming up, pasta doing its thing. Just a little bit more water here. And like I said, this is maybe 2 minutes that it's gonna be in here. This fresh pasta takes very, very little time. And we're ready to go. So I turn the heat off on the pasta water and then just grab the pasta with the tongs, pull it straight out and into the saute pan, just like that. And the extra water that's coming off on there is totally fine. All right, so this is our pan full. Initially, you just want to give it a couple stirs with the tongs like this, just to make sure your edges kind of get mixed in there. And then you want to do one nice toss. We're gonna add in, I would say about a tablespoon and a half of the butter, one good pinch of the Parmesan right on top. Tossing it, give it a little stir. We don't want to go super crazy with the tongs in the pasta because we don't want to break the pasta. One more time. Once your pasta noodles are completely covered, you've got all the sauce and everything distributed, you're ready to go. I'm just gonna finish this right in the pan instead of transferring it to plates. It's a good look. If you're two people and you put this down between the two of you, and you can kind of either eat off of here or serve off of here, but it's like if you have a really sexy saute pan, you might as well use it. And then just enough of that parsley to give it that photo finish right over to the table. All right, boom. Right back over here, and that's good to go. You maybe have some sexier tongs. I don't know. I like the industrial look. It brings a nice romance to the pasta that I just don't think you get anywhere else. So that's it. So from here, right into your bowl. You can eat right out of the pan, but it's delicious, and I'm not gonna wait because I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. Enjoy it, make it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave some questions in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to it. And if you make this and it turns out like this and it doesn't work out for you, whatever that means, don't blame me.